Hey there guys, hope you're all doing well. This is Chetan here from Double Cube and welcome back to a brand new tutorial. And this is going to be in Illustrator and Photoshop, and we're going to be learning to create a cool game icon completely in Illustrator and then take it over to Photoshop and then do the final touches to make it pop out real cool. So as you can see on the thumbnail, that's what we're going to be creating. So without further ado, let's get started. On Dribble, and the inspiration for this was by Dana Henwood, and she created these Overwatch heroes. So for those of you who don't know what Overwatch is, it's a very popular online multiplayer game, some similar to Call of Duty, and she created these bunch of 6 icons which I think are pretty cool, and it says it's her first shot here, and she's got around 146 likes and 2,000 views, which is insane because it's really good. And if I just zoom in over here, these look really cool and really realistic with the gradient, the color, the shading and stuff like that. So we're going to be creating this one right here today. I'm going to jump into Illustrator right now, and there you go. This is my finished product in Illustrator. It looks pretty sick and pretty cool. And we're going to take this, export it, and I'm going to show you how to export it into Photoshop and get started. Okay, so I just went ahead and picked up one of those pictures and cropped it over here. And we are ready to start creating. So we're going to start off with the hair because it's pretty simple, and then we can get onto the eyes and the face and other stuff. Okay, so I'm going to go and grab my pen tool by pressing P on my keyboard, and we're going to start off over here. So let's zoom in. So I'm holding on Alt and my mouse scroll wheel to zoom in and out, and hold down the space bar to move with your hand tool. And I'm going to click and then just go and just draw things like, you know, just here. And like so, and then we can come back over here and clean this up and finish it up like so. Okay, so now I'm going to click on the stroke, and I'm going to set this to a black color stroke, and I can come here to the stroke properties and increase this to say something like 2 so we can actually see it. I can select one of these anchor points and just move them and curve them out so it kind of looks realistic. Okay, then let's press P on our keyboard again, and let's start here from the bottom. So I'm just going to click over here and over here, hold down Alt and come near the anchor point. When you click on it, it's going to cut off one of the tangents, so it's going to be a very sharp cut. And I can click again, I can hold down Control Alt, click on the next corner, create something like that, hold on Alt, click on this, and we can come over here and over here, and yeah, that's a pretty neat curve. We can fix that later if you want. Hold on Alt again. Now another question I keep getting when people ask me during illustrations is they try very much to get a perfect curve, but it never actually happens to them, and they ask me how I make sure my curves are really perfect. It's pretty simple actually. There's no technique or skill that's required. It's just common sense. What you want to do is whenever you're creating a curve, whoops, okay, let me just close this up and then continue my explanation. There we go. So whenever you're creating a curve, let me explain here and you guys can get a better idea. So I'm going to click, and your anchor, so the best curve is one which has the least amount of anchor points. So the lesser the anchor points is the best amount of curves. So you just want to click on the place where the curve changes its direction. So right over here, which is the center, the curvature changes from going up to the left and down to the left. So I'm going to click right here in the center and create a curve over here, and the curve changes again over here. So I'm just going to click and just drag a little bit and come over here, and which is the corner, and drag, hold on Alt and click to break the tangent, come over here and just make it. So that's basically the technique of getting the perfect curves. Hold on Control, let's come over here, let's create something like that. Let's come over here, hold on Control, Alt, I'm sorry, I don't know why I keep saying Control. Okay, hold on Control, and just the last bit of the hair to be done over here. And if you guys want to move it, you can press A to get the direct selection tool, click on the anchor point and just move them out. You can even meddle with the tangents, and once you're ready to back to editing again, press P, double click on this anchor point, and you're now connected, and you can go, hold on, Alt, and like that, and we can come over here, get a little bit of curvature over there, and we can just come over here and then close this up, and this looks pretty crazy, but we'll get to that. So we're going to select all of this that I just created, and I'm going to reverse it by pressing Shift X, and that's going to make all this into the layers. And I'm just going to go ahead and just give this a different color for now, just so that we can, you know, kind of differentiate them. Let's actually do one thing. Let's actually go to the layers panel, and we can select this, lock this layer and hide it, and we can create a new layer, and we can start working on the face and the goggles. So I'm going to work on the goggles right now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and get a rectangle, and again, let's click on this to make sure our stroke is filled. And let's just go and create a decent rectangle like so. Make sure the size is correct. So I'm going to select this and move this over to the left. Move this over a little bit also to the left, and the height is perfect. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to select my direct selection tool, select all the points, and when I select all the points, you can see I get these circles. I can just select and round them in, and they look really perfect. And also what I'm going to do is I'm going to press P on my keyboard and come over here, and I'm going to click here. You can see these pink color guides which are guiding me. If you don't see that, you can go to View and click on Smart Guides, and I'm going to click here and make another point over here. Now press A to get the direct selection tool. Just create a selection on this anchor point, and hold down Shift, create a selection around this anchor point, and I'm going to click on this button which says Convert Selected Anchor Points to Smooth. So now I get tangents. So if I click on this, you can see I have the tangent, and I'm just going to hold down Shift and bring this down thrice. Hold down Shift, bring this thrice. I'm going to select all these 4 anchor points. So 1, 2, 3, and 4, and I'm going to click, and that's going to round this off even more. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this and change the color of this to white, because that's what is white. And okay, let's actually choose a different color so we can differentiate it from the background, and come here to the stroke, and we're going to increase this stroke to say 20. 20. Okay. And then what we're going to do is we're going to come here, click on the stroke panel, and we are going to go and set the align stroke to the center one, which is align stroke to the inside. There we go. And now we're going to reduce this down to 15, let's say, 10, let's say, maybe 12. I don't know, 12 looks decent for me. I think that's okay. And I'm just going to click this away. So now I'm going to select this layer and just move it over to see what it looks like. Okay, that's great. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and duplicate these by pressing Ctrl C and Ctrl F, and that's going to place it right on top of it. So you can see we have 2 copies now, and this one I'm going to go and reverse it and change the color of this to an orange color. There we go. And great. Now I want the white stroke to be in the front. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click, arrange, and choose send to back. Okay, so now that moves it off the back, and this is going to be white in color. So I'm going to go and change this to a white color. And there we go, we have this. Now if I select these 2 and just move them over, you can see we have these this reflection. So we're going to do that real quick. Just create a rectangle pretty big, like so. We can set this to, let's say, I don't know, a blue color, pink, purple color, whatever it is, just to differentiate it. And we're going to go and rotate it and place it right over here and shrink this down a teeny tiny bit. Give it a little bit more rotation. There we go. Make a copy by pressing Ctrl C, Ctrl F, and we can place this over here and shrink the size of this down. There we go. That's good. I'm going to select these 2, move these back into place like so. All right. And now what we're going to do is we're going to select all of this and come to our shape builder tool, which is over here, or the shortcut is Shift M. Now what the shape builder tool does is it allows us to merge or break apart or divide each element that we selected into different pieces. So since I selected all this, if I hold on Alt, you can see I get a minus sign below the cursor. And what I do is I'm just going to click, and that's going to delete that, and that's going to just set the outlines to the outline of the shape. And then I'm going to select the white stroke, right click, arrange, and choose bring to front, and that's going to move it up to the back. Now if I go to my layers panel and turn on the hair, You can see we have the hair. I'm going to bring the glasses down below, and you can see it's covering the face real good, and it looks stunning right now. So now I'm going to go ahead and just hide the goggles as well, and as well the hair, and we're going to go and just create a new layer. Let's lock this, create a new layer on top of everything, and we can just make the face right really quick. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and make the face. So since the face is symmetrical, what I'm usually going to do is I'm going to make one half of the face, and then the other half I'm just going to reflect it and merge them together. So I'm going to press Ctrl R on my keyboard and move my ruler over here so that it kind of snaps to the center of the face. If you can't see it, you can press Ctrl and the colon key, and you should be able to see them. Okay, that's good. And I'm gonna go and just click over here with the face. Okay, something like that. And okay, the stroke is pretty thick, so I'm gonna go to the stroke and set the amount to 2. And we are going to go here and just make this like so. Let's zoom in a little bit closer, and we can just move this over. Hold on Control Alt and click on this, and we can come over here to the top, hold down Shift so it comes up as a straight line, and then cover this up. So I'm going to select this, I'm going to right click, transform, and choose reflect, and I'm going to click on preview so I can see this. Now this is crazy, so what we need to do is cancel, press V, select the entire object, right click, transform, reflect, and I'm going to make a copy by clicking on copy, and that's going to give us 2 copies. And I'm going to select this, hold down Shift, move to the other side a little bit more, and then select these 2 and come into the Pathfinder and click on this button, which is going to merge them together. Now the reason they're not merging is because I don't think they're touching. So okay, and then we can go and change this to a white color fill. Select one of them, right click, choose ungroup, and we can select this and just move them over. Now we can select both of this and unite, and there we go. Now we have one final solid piece of the face. So now let's put them in order. The face, okay, turn this back on, and bam, we have something like this. Now a little bit of a gap over here. I'm gonna select the hair and just move this over like so. Awesome. I'm gonna press Ctrl R to get rid of my rulers, Ctrl colon to get rid of the guides, and we have this. So now we're ready to go into Photoshop and start editing this. Now one final thing before we export is we need to go back to our layers panel, and as you can see over here we have, I'm going to go ahead and just select all of these layers and get rid of them. So now once we have all of this, what we want to do is we're going to select one of these layers, come here and click on release layers sequence, and we can select all of these layers now and then move them out, right? So now these are individual hair layers. The same thing for the goggles, select it, come here, release layers to sequence. We can select all of this and throw these out. Oh, you got to throw these out. Right, and the face I think is a single object, so that's not going to be an issue. Then we can select these 2 and hit delete. And now we're going to go to File and click on Export, Export As, and save it as, I'm going to save this tutorial for now, and click on Export. And you want to make sure to check on right layers and maximum editability, or it's going to import everything as a flat image, and that's not going to be of any use to us. Click on OK, and we are good to go. So now let's jump into Photoshop and make this look more cooler. So here I am in Photoshop, and I open up the document by just opening it, and this was the one which I previously made. This is not the one I just showed you guys, but it's basically the same thing. So I'm going to go to File and actually click on New, and I'm going to go and create a 1000 by 1000 wide document. Click on Create, and we have this. Now I'm going to go and just select all of these elements and throw them into this new document. And as you can see, this is pretty small, so press Ctrl G to group them, press Ctrl A and just align them to the center. And let's just go and scale this down pretty much like so, and click on OK and move this over here. Now I'm going to need a reference, so I'm just going to go and grab my reference picture. Okay, bam, here is my reference picture, beautifully placed over here, and now we can start working on this. So if you see over here, let's start off with the hair, because I think the hair was pretty easy. So let's go to our group, open that up, and I'm going to create some space over here. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go and do the hair one by one. So we're gonna start with this hair, the first one, which is right over here. And what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna press B on my keyboard to get the brush tool. And we wanna reduce down the size of the brush to pretty much something like so. And let's create a new layer on top of it. Make sure we set the foreground color to white. You can use a square bracket keys to make them big or small. Make sure it's a soft brush, so the hardness is set to 0. And what we're going to do is we're going to right click on this, create clipping mask, and then we're going to go and slowly start brushing over these edges like so. You don't want to put too much pressure or it's going to look like it was overdone. So let's make it a little bit bigger. We have more room, and just slightly just brush over the entire place. Right, there we go. Okay, so the next thing is we are going to go and turn on the next layer, which is this one right over here. And we're going to go and do the same thing over here. So now what we're going to do is we're going to add shadow to this. So we can do is select the layer, double click on that, and we can go to drop shadow. Let's actually go to the one on the top, double click, add a drop shadow. Now the distance is going to set to be 0. The spread, let's set it to 5, and the size, let's set it to 15. And maybe the opacity, we can reduce that down to 40, I'm guessing is good. All right, click on OK, and we have something like this. Now let's right click, copy layer style, come on to all the hair layers that we have and choose paste layer style. Okay, and that's good. I think what we can do is we can go to drop shadow and increase up the spread of this to 10 and the size of this to 30. Or maybe I want to go set the spread of this to something like 3 and the size of this to 10. I don't want it to be popping out too much. So maybe even set this to like something like, I don't know, 8, I think looks good. And click on OK, right click, copy layer style, come on to each of the layers by holding down Control and choose paste layer style, and bam, it's going to apply the layer style onto the entire set of hairs. Another thing what we can do is double click on this, and you can go and choose an inner glow. So you see we have this beautiful looking glow. Now opacity, I'm going to set that down to pretty low, so say something like 15, and we can increase the size of this to 10, or I think 10 is fine, or maybe 20 to go. Okay, I think I'm going to go with 10, and the opacity is also pretty too high, so we can set this to 10, and color set to white. Instead of center, we're going to click on edge and make sure the belly merge screen and click on OK. And then I'm going to right click, I'm going to copy this layer style, come back again and paste it on all of this. So right click and choose paste layer style, and boom, we have this really nice, beautiful looking glow effect, which is really amazing. Okay, now let's come here and do the glasses. The glasses are going to be pretty fun. So I'm going to come here to the glasses and just hide off these 2 layers, and we're going to work on this one for now. So double click on this and click on gradient overlay, and I'm going to go and pick the colors right from here. So I'm going to come over here and pick this color, and come over here and pick a lighter color of this, and maybe we can go and manually make this a lighter color, so something like that, and click on OK, and it is already looking fantastic. So the next we can do is turn on these 2 layers. And I think the color of this is yellow, which is pretty fine. But then as you can see, we kind of have to give a little bit of shadow and then get rid of the end part. So I'm going to select one, double click, and let's go add in a drop shadow. And this time we want to reduce the opacity pretty low. So say something like 15. And we're going to go and increase the size of this to 15. Okay, oops, 156, that's too much. Maybe reduce down the opacity a little bit more to 10, spread of this to 2, maybe 1, and the size to 10. Yeah, I think that's good. And click on OK. And what we're going to do is right click, copy layer style, come onto this, right click and choose paste layer style. And we can select these 2, right click and choose rasterize layer style. And now what we're going to do is we're going to press this button, which is going to create a layer mask, and that's going to give us this. Press B on your keyboard and make sure your color is set to black. And what we're going to do is make sure our opacity is set to 100%. 15%. And make sure we are selecting this so you can see this white color box around this box. And let's just go and just start clicking over here slightly. And that's going to start deleting up a part of that. And let's do the same thing over here, add a layer mask and just click like so. And that's going to get rid of that for us. We can click here again and something like that. You can also go and reduce the opacity of this to say something like 80. And the same thing to this as well. And that looks even much more realistic. And what we'll do is I'm going to double click on this gradient overlay layer on the goggles, click on drop shadow, and then we're going to go and increase up the distance. So we kind of get this like so. And we're going to change the color of this to a brownish red color. So I don't know, something like that. Yeah, a peach orange brown color. Click on OK. And let's increase the spread a little bit. And the size, okay, size, let's set that down to 10. And the spread, let's set that down to like 6. And the distance, we're going to set that to 10. And I think this is looking pretty good already. Maybe you can increase the spread up to like 8 and the size to 15. That's looking perfect. Go ahead and click on OK. And now what we want to do is create a new layer on top of the face. Right click, choose, create it as a clipping mask, and get our brush tool and get that light peach color. So let's just get ourselves that light, the light peach color, like so. Press B on our keyboard to get the brush tool, and then we're just gonna go and just start drawing over the edges, like so, just on the edges. So it gives a little bit of definition to the face, and you can just put in a couple of blots here and there, and right here in the center, and that looks good. And you can double click on this, go and choose, oh, not on that, we want on the face layer, go and choose a inner glow. And this time we want to go and change this again to an orange color, this time like a complete orange color. Increase up the opacity, and you can see we get this nice, beautiful looking glow. And if we set the blending mode of this to normal, we get something like that. So let's actually go and set this to white and increase the size of this to 20. And we can bring down the opacity a little tiny bit so we get a little bit of that. And bam, there we go. Now another thing we need to do last is on the goggles, white goggles, we want to add a little bit of drop shadow. So we got to double click on the goggles, click on drop shadow, and there we go. I'm going to go and reduce down this to 20%. So now once all this is done, what we can do is let's actually zoom out. Let's go and group everything. So we have everything in this group. I'm going to just close this up. And I'm going to go to filter and I'm going to add in grain. But as you can see, I can't edit this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a copy by pressing Ctrl J. I'm going to hide the one just in case, and I'm going to select this and press Ctrl E or right click and choose merge layers. So you're going to get an option called merge layers, and this is one flat final image. And I'm going to go here to filter, noise, and choose add noise. Now that looks pretty bad, so I'm going to go and reduce down the opacity of this to say like 5. I mean the noise amount. Okay, that's too much, so I'm going to probably set it to 1 or 2, 1.5. I think 1.5 is a good amount. Let's set it to 1 actually, and then click on OK. And you can see we have this little bit of nice grainy feel to it. Makes it more organic. So that's pretty much it on creating this cool game icon in Photoshop and Illustrator. Hope you guys really enjoyed and learned something new. If you have any questions or requests, feel free to mention them in the comment section down below. Don't forget to subscribe for more amazing content, and I'll see you guys in my next video. So till then, take care and bye-bye.